We start here. There comes a time when the head of every family has to account for the decisions made within the household. Well, today is that day for President Cyril Ramaphosa as the nation's #1 citizen prepares to answer some heated questions in the National Assembly later today. eNCA's reporter Nqobile Madlala is out in Alexandra checking on what we are, or rather what we as extended family would like to ask the president if afforded the opportunity. Nqobile, what are the people of Alexandra telling you they would like to know from the president?
Well, Masaka, as you know, that Alexandra has been faced with quite a number of issues relating to things like schooling, as well as the shooting that we saw earlier on. So I've decided to then bring in some of the community leaders to speak to us about those issues. And I want to ask you, Vincent, I mean, we found you this morning having to deal with some of the issues with regards to schooling, and the president, of course, is going to be answering those questions from the parties. What would you like to hear the president speak about in Parliament?
Good afternoon. First and foremost, in the education sector in township, it's a problem for many schools, not only in Alex, but so to your Orange Farm. So one of the questions that I would impose to the president is that, Mr. President, what is it that you are doing for the education sector in townships? I'm hoping that the department as well, through the office of the president, can better the lives of these kids that are here in schools, because it's a total mess. There's no learning and teaching at these schools. We can't even go inside the school. We've been here since 6:45 in the morning. We haven't seen even one class in. So it's a call for concern.
And of course, I mean, seeing all these issues, one wonders what happened to the children, to the pupils that go to those schools. What would you like to ask him regarding that?
No, man, when it comes to people's coming to the school, the issue of bullying, the issue of drugs that is happening at school, I think we need to broaden the scale in terms of getting help for these kids, because this thing is not only happening here at school, it's something that comes from the house. So now we need social workers. We need a psychologist in all schools in Alex. We are facing something that is very bad. So if they can just help us in that regard as well.
All right. And just to deviate away perhaps a bit from the schooling, let's talk about what's been trending. I mean, we've seen Phala trending on Twitter and all sort of platforms. Do people care about that?
I don't think people care about that. I think people have come to a point whereby what happens outside townships mostly, they don't even care, because there's nothing that is happening within our townships. Let me give you a simple example. GPV. We don't have trained police officers that deal with GPV issues. How is the nation going to then deal with the Phala issue? Let's start cleaning the house before we go to the actual streets. Let's start cleaning in the townships, then we'll get a better feel of that.
All right. I want to bring in one of the community members also that is joining us here. I mean, so we're hearing from Vincent just talking about the fact that people want to see the house being cleaned from the bottom up. He's speaking about GBV. You were speaking to some of the children here now, the pupils here, about GBV. What do you want to ask the president regarding these issues?
No, it's very clear. I mean, first of all, afternoon, it's very clear. We need to be practical. Social workers, we need them inside townships, you know. Social ills and what happens in the society, they will automatically go in the schools, you know, because in Alex we live in one rooms. So the neighbor actually hears and they can actually tell what's happening in my shack, you know. So the president needs to tell us, when are the ministers, MECs going to be on the ground, not for voting only, but for the society. We need to see a better society. I mean, Alex has a rich history, you know. We don't want to speak of the history. They are all seen in TV and. But we want practicality. That's it.
When you speak about the ministers and the MECs on the ground, how would you propose that the president does, perhaps attends to those issues, and what would they do on the ground?
You remember that hullabaloo of 100 days? That hullabaloo of that 100 days must come back, and a minister or an MEC must go to the local offices, sign the register on a daily when they are here. we are having problems, but you can't be assisted. They'll tell you of the bureaucracy and so forth, while we are being affected on the ground. So it doesn't assist. I mean, they are public figures, public offices. I mean, we are in a school here. There is a minister of basic education. There is an MEC of basic education. Why should we see them when there are problems? I mean, we should also see them carrying roses to give to female teachers, as it's a Women's Month. We need that practicality here.
Talking about that practicality, there was an announcement with regards to anti-corruption panel. Do you think that's going to assist in any way on the ground?
We should start by looking at who is in that panel first. And then we will have a way forward. Because it's impossible for a person who has a corruption case looming, presiding over it. I mean, obviously, you understand. So ask again, who is it in that panel and what are they bringing? And then everyone can account. Because now, for me, it's a joke. That's why I'm laughing. That panel is just friends who are presiding over that thing of theirs. They call it corruption. You understand? And it's not corruption, but it's more share. I
mean, we heard even the president talking about step aside. Do you think that's not even helping as well?
Yeah, hence I'm saying step aside is for the individuals. It's not a policy of government, you know. It deals with certain individuals. It should be that even if Uvini is a cleaner and there are those allegations, he must also be told to step aside.
Lastly, what do you want to say then to the president?
I just want to say to the president, can he kindly, in fact, asaqe, akathumela ama-minister on the ground, akathumela ama-minister kunama-ofisi la awama-department, abasayina ama-register, ukuthi bebakhona benzeni and then bazobuya nini futhi. That's it.
Thank you very much. Those are some of the sentiments coming out there from some of the community leaders as well as community members in Alexandra. Masego, I think it's very clear. They're saying that if you're going to fix anything, starts from the ground up. And that's what they want to see. And they also want to see more visibility with regards to officials being on the ground and working the ground.
All right, Nqobile Madlala live for us in Alexandra, finding out from ordinary South Africans what they would expect to hear from the president as he prepares to answer questions in the National Assembly at around 2 o'clock this afternoon.